Hello, everybody. I'm going to give some people a moment to hop on. So I just felt compelled to actually get on Facebook Live tonight. Not glamorous. It's the end of the day. I finished up my work day dealing with clients and wanted to kind of reach out. So I'll give everybody a moment. And when you do hop on, please go ahead and send a heart, send a like, just kind of let me know that you're there. But what prompted me to actually hop on and say something is I was having a conversation with my daughter. I've had many conversations lately. My daughter is in high school. And for those of you who may just be tuning in, I'm actually a holistic practitioner, a licensed esthetician. And here in Orlando, I work at a clinic where we are the intermediary between spa and medical, and we deal with acne. Holistically, all natural and organic. And so what's really been getting to me recently is that my daughter has been informing me of the number of kids that are suffering from acne and congested skin, and they are going to the doctor. And that's typically kind of our culture and our society here in the United States is to diagnose and prescribe, to treat the symptoms of whatever somebody's suffering from. And what's really frustrating for me to watch is the fact that they're not looking at the bigger picture. So here's the thing, and here's what I want to sound off about. Number one, as a parent, and no judgment, I'm not the type of person that's like anti-vaccine, anti-medicine. My boyfriend's actually an Eastern doctor, and I know very well medical intervention is needed and critical in many situations. If you have a heart attack, you're not going to rub herbs on it. If you have a broken arm, you're not just going to do acupuncture for it. Medical intervention is necessary. So there are some cases, though, where I'm seeing people rush out looking for the magic pill as their first line of defense, when there should be a process of elimination and steps that they take within their lifestyle first. And if that doesn't yield results, then definitely look at medical intervention. And I'm going to give you some examples here. So, number one, if you take and put your child on strong antibiotics to fight off acne, you have to think about the repercussions as far as their digestive tract. Now, the point is that your gut is your second brain. So everything starts in the gut, right? So the thing is, though, is that what if they have hormonal acne? What if they have a food intolerance? Those antibiotics are not going to address their hormones and not going to address the foods that they're consuming that are actually triggering their acne. So there's that aspect. And then I see a lot of kids coming in, or young women, that they're prescribed birth control. Then I ask them, did they do a panel? Did they check your hormones? And they say, well, no, they just gave me some birth control. They said I have hormonal acne. And I say, okay, so if you didn't have lab work done, how do you know where the excess or the deficiency lies? And if they are treating you with the correct hormone? So that's something just to be aware of. And again, I'm not anti-medication. I'm just saying that sometimes you need to ask the next logical question. So we're living in a time and in a society with a sad American diet right now. And that diet is full of high fructose corn syrup. It's full of hydrogenated oils. It's full of pesticides, GMOs, hormones, antibiotics, all different types of things. And so if you are not addressing those things that could potentially be triggering the acne, the medication's not going to help. I have clients coming in regularly that have been on multiple rounds of antibiotics and medications, some specifically targeted for acne, yet they still have congestion in the skin and they're having problems with the skin. So one thing that you need to be aware of, I get into this discussion sometime with parents. We were raised in a time where milk does a body good, right? We were all marketed to and everything. I ate cereal with milk, had a glass of milk with every meal, everything else. Here's a few things to be aware of. Number one, the majority of the world's population doesn't digest milk. It was a genetic mutation for people from Northern Europe that needed to pack on fat to survive the winters in case they ran out of food reserves, okay? So the thing is that by nature, it's designed to have growth hormone. Its job is to raise infants into adolescence. They are a much larger animal than we are. So when you have kids that are, even women that go through hormonal fluctuations, you've got a kid going through puberty. Now they're ingesting something that has growth hormone. Maybe they're an athlete, they're taking whey protein on top of that. Then what it does is it affects the coenzyme A in their body. The coenzyme A affects the synthesis of dietary fats, fatty acids, and sex hormones. So not only are you taking in a hormone impacting food, but in our country, it's very common for them to pump our cows full of extra hormones to keep them lactating year round, not just post-gestational, right? So now you've got this huge influx, throws everything off balance, and then next thing you know, dietary fats end up in the skin. So what's not processed by the liver or excreted through the bowel, which a lot of people in this country, hate to say it, are a little constipated because they're eating foods that are void of nutrition, void of fiber, then your skin is the largest excretory organ on the body. It is the filter in which your body is going to purge, right? So you're eating all of these foods, and sometimes you may even have a sensitivity to these foods. We're in a time now where we're seeing a huge influx in gluten sensitivities and other types of food allergies. So I'm going to break this down for you too, just so you kind of understand this a little better and where this comes from. You wonder why kids are getting sick more and more now. Well, it's because we're in a fast food nation. If mother has poor nutrition in the womb, first line of defense to get exposure to good bacteria and probiotics is passing through the birth canal. And in our country right now, C-sections are up by 30%, okay? So you already have a deficit. Second line of defense, breastfeeding. Women in our country are not breastfeeding as much or as long as they did long before we had formula and everything else, right? So that's the secondary line of defense. What happens then is child gets an ear infection, then they've already got a depleted digestive tract, and they give them antibiotics to combat the ear infection, right? Which further, it kills off not only the bad bacteria, but their good intestinal flora as well. And most people are not supplementing and putting the good bacteria back in their system using probiotics and things like that. So when you see that, that's when we're seeing this influx of things like leaky gut syndrome. Again, food's not being metabolized. Again, food's showing up in the skin. That's your filter. That's the largest organ on your body, right? So then you take it, and I'm not even going to go too far down the road of, GMOs and, things like that. But the fact is that as we're seeing all these gluten allergies, the wheat of our ancestors was actually fermented for days to start the prebiotic process, to break down the proteins that we tend to be intolerant to. Therefore, it would take days to make a loaf of bread. Now we add yeast, we add all these ingredients, and we bang it out in a couple hours, from harvest to shelf. So, there's a lot of contributing factors. So here's where I get frustrated, is that when you take your kid that has acne, or even if you have acne and you go out looking for the topical cream, the magic pill, it starts with the gut. It starts with the diet. It starts right there. And so you've got to look at that. The thing is that most of the stuff that's out there that treats acne is going to be harsh. It's going to strip away oils in your skin. The oil in your skin is the protective barrier that not only protects you from the invasion of bacteria, but it helps to lock in hydration. So water doesn't evaporate out of the surface of your skin, which is important here in the state of Florida. It helps condition you so you don't get cracked and wrinkled when you get older. Oil is not bad, but it's about maintaining the proper water and oil balance. So when you're stripping it away, your skin kicks into overdrive, freaks out, says, oh my gosh, I got to replace my protective barrier. Next thing you know, you're shiny, you're blotting your forehead, you're going, oh my gosh, where's all this coming from? It's because the products that you're using, and I'm going to tell you right now, the majority of clients that walk through my door don't even have oily skin. They have unbalanced skin. They've been too harsh and too rough with their skin. They've been stripping it and drying it and doing all kinds of stuff to it. And I'm here to tell you, you can rub all the topical creams you want on your face. When you have something physically lodged in your skin, it has to be removed. And what's lodged in there serves as food for the acne bacteria. So you're depleting your protective barrier, bacteria gets in there, there's all kinds of food for it to eat. Next thing you know, white blood cells rush in, you got pimples. That's how it works. It's a chain reaction. And so that's where I get so frustrated, because I'm seeing this influx of some very harsh medications being prescribed. And I will be honest, there's a couple of kids that have walked through my door that I said, yes, consult with your doctor. They're probably the ideal candidate for that. I'm not here to say, oh my gosh, don't ever do that. What I am here to say is that there's a specific subset of teens or people that are ideal candidates for those types of medications. And as a parent of a teenager, I am a little bit reluctant to rush out and put them on a medication that they have to go and get their liver enzymes tested on a regular basis to make sure that it's not doing damage to their liver. And then there's some other questionable side effects. I know there's a lot of debate over it about whether it's proven or whether it's not, but for me, the risk isn't worth it. Suicidal thoughts, depression, possible sterility. Those are things that, for me, unless my child has a very severe case, and I'm talking like, I've seen some kids that have acne all the way down their back, lower lumbar, it's uncomfortable to sit in their desk at school, they can't play football, it's a quality of life issue. Yes, they need medication, go to your doctor. There's been a few times that sometimes kids come in the door, and I look at them and I tell their mother, you know, you need to get this under control first. Go see your doctor. We'll work in conjunction. We'll work in tandem. You know, there's certain scenarios where it's absolutely appropriate. But what I'm frustrated with is when your kids are eating cheese, cereals, and packaged foods full of hydrogenated oils, loaded and smothered in milk. You know, they're eating chicken wings and pizza and macaroni and cheese and all these things. And you want to medicate them, but yet they're still consuming the foods that are triggering the condition. So that's why they end up going on multiple rounds again and again and again. And one of the things that concerned me too, I had a client that she's a dental assistant that showed me photos of some of the teeth that have been damaged by certain types of antibiotics, or teeth that they've extracted that were dark, discolored, and things like that. I'm not saying everybody's going to have bad side effects from medication. What I am saying is that start with the process of elimination first. Start with treating the skin gently rather than stripping and drying it and being harsh with it. Try changing the diet, which it does take on average at least 6 weeks to detox your body from all of the prolonged chemical exposure you've been putting it through. It's funny, I have clients that are my age, I'm 40 years old, that say, I'm not a teenager, why am I breaking out? And it's like, because you've been eating certain foods for 30 years. Prolonged chemical exposure. Once you see the symptoms, your body's been tipped out of balance. And so it takes time. You need to hit the reset button. Got to clear it out, clear out the gut, clear out the skin so that it can start to heal. The body has an amazing ability to heal itself. And so, you know, just keep that in mind. I mean, even for that matter, soy, if you look at the protein chain, and again, I'm not even talking about like GMO stuff or anything. You look at the protein chain, at the molecules, it looks identical to human estrogen. If it's mimicking estrogen in a body, it's going to affect your coenzyme A levels. Therefore, dietary fats are going to show up in the skin. So there's a sequence of events that takes place from the things that we're consuming. So I feel very passionate about this. I wanted to get that message out because I know a lot of people that have known me in the market for a long time. They know that, you know, I do skincare. However, they don't understand the full scope of what we do because we are a holistic practice. So we look at all of the factors, stress level, diet, products that they're using. You know, you've got to look at everything all together in order to balance the whole human. That's what it's about. It's about setting that reset button so that way you can allow your body and support your body to do what it does best, which is heal itself. And again, there are a small sliver of people that, you know, again, still need medical intervention even after they've gone through the process of elimination. But I'm going to tell you one thing, they walk out of the door healthier, better educated, making better choices. And then it's just going to improve them in so many other ways. And, you know, and what I see is usually a shift or a change. If there is a specific food allergy, it usually kind of appears a certain way within the skin. If it's hormonal, it appears another way within the skin. But at least if you can reduce the amount of hormone impacting foods that you're eating, reduce the tax on your liver from all these dietary fats that we're not even meant to be processing. Hydrogenated oil started like in the soap industry to harden soap, and we decided to use it as a preservative. So it's a little scary to me when people are walking around with a McDonald's Happy Meal or some Interman's donuts that they've been carrying around for like 2 years, and there's no mold or no mildew or any, and we're feeding this to our kids. Do you know what that does to their arteries? You know, nicks the arteries, cholesterol builds up. You know, the kids nowadays are getting diabetes and heart disease at a younger age. It's crazy. You know, I could go on for a long time. I'm not going to go down that road. So anyways, I just want to encourage you. Listen, if you have a child, a teenager, or if you even as an adult are struggling with acne, I invite you to really start looking at the foods that you're consuming, look at getting your skin cleaned out, look at being chemical free, natural, organic, and gentle on the skin. Because again, proper skin health, proper oil, proper water balance, keeping it cleaned out. But it starts from the inside. So if you can balance the gut, you're going to see an improvement on the outside. Reducing your stress levels. There's so many different things that you can do before you just go and hop on the bandwagon to try to take yet another medication. And again, with the antibiotics, you have to constantly replenish the good flora in your gut in order to be balanced. That's your immune system right there. So you're killing off one thing, but then you're depleting another, and it could be to your detriment. And right now, here in Central Florida, cold and flu season has gone rampant. I mean, just now we're getting into allergies, but there was even the crud, the chest colds, everything else. And I even take 50 billion probiotics in addition to herbs and supplements and all kinds of things. And, you know, I have been fortunate to dodge the flu, but I just can't help but wonder if I didn't do all the things that I do, I think that it could have been much worse, and I could have ended up getting some of the worst things that were floating around. But again, I just really invite you, you know, we're in a society where our medical system is set up to diagnose and prescribe, and that's fine, but that's one slice of the pie, you know, because if you're still going to continue eating the things that are impacting your hormones, clogging up your skin, you know, taxing your liver, all of those things, the medications simply aren't addressing that. So I hope that you found this valuable. I hope if you guys have any questions, please post below. I'm always happy to answer questions. I've studied extensively over the years in dietary education and supplementation. And again, you know, my boyfriend is an Eastern doctor, so he practices Oriental medicine and herbalism as well. And so we're always bouncing ideas and things off of one another. And I am fortunate to be surrounded by an amazingly intelligent group of women in my clinic that we all kind of get geeked out on the same information, and we're always studying and always sharing information. And it's really just about helping people, because at the end of the day, you know, it's about helping people be happier and healthier, self-confident, beautiful, you know, all of those things. It's such a huge transformation when I see a teenage boy come in my office with poor posture, not making eye contact, very self-conscious, and then you see him months later after we've gotten the diet and everything else in check, and standing up tall, joking around, ready to go out and tackle the world. I'm like, hey, you're a junior now. Like, he's probably, you know, interested in girls and, you know, all of those normal things that, you know, young, healthy teenagers should be doing. But before that, it was a challenge, and nobody should have to struggle unnecessarily. And I'll leave you with this. I'll tell you, I get clients in from around the world. I'm very fortunate that way. And one of the things that fascinates me is when they come from other countries where maybe they've even worked in fast food in that country at a restaurant that we know. Maybe they have grown up in their culture feeding off of dairy. And they come here and suddenly their skin explodes when they come to the US. And they're like, the food doesn't taste the same. I don't know what's going on with my skin. I've never had problems. I'm 20 something years old. And it just is an indication of the quality of foods that we have in this country, or lack thereof, in our convenient fast food society. And it's a little bit disheartening because we're supposed to be progressive and we're supposed to be having first world problems. And for as progressive as our medical system is and everything else, our rates of disease are skyrocketing. And again, it goes back to being conscious of what you're consuming, conscious of what you're exposed to. And I always take a very fair and balanced approach to everything. I don't feel you should tip the scales too far one direction or the other. I believe very much that balance is the key to everything in life. And so, I deliver this message to you as a person looking at balance as a whole, not just somebody that's on the bandwagon to just kind of scorn all these bad things that, are cropping up in society and impacting humans in a negative way. So anyways, I hope you find this information helpful. If there's more information you want to see or hear, let me know. I'm more than happy to do more Facebook Live posts in the future, or even answer questions, because you might know somebody who's struggling. So, it's all about helping the greater good of everybody. So thank you for tuning in, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Have a good night. Bye.